challenge my team to come up with a plan on how we can hit $15 million of top line revenue next year. And, the initial reaction is, hey, that's a pretty lofty goal. I don't know how we can hit it. But again, I was like, hey, just let's get creative. Let's figure out how to do this. And this is the plan that they came up with. I just thought it would be valuable to those out there, like trying to grow an agency, trying to grow their income on how I and my team think through things, and just thought it'd be useful information. But my name is Matt Timon. I grow insurance agencies. It's what I do every single day. And just wanted to share some of the things, again, that I thought would be helpful. So the first place I'll start is the numbers. You have to know your numbers in order to have a predictable stream of income, a predictable stream of revenue. If you do not know your numbers, how can you predict where you'll be at all? So knowing your average revenue per policy, knowing your closing rates, knowing your cost of acquisition, your return on ad spend, what people cost to acquire, like your team, your employees, what it costs to acquire them from a recruiting perspective, HR, like how many interviews, like all the things, all this stuff matters. And so the bigger we get, the more I used to go off of a feeling. I used to go off of, it feels like this is right. But now I have to go off of data. Like my evolution as a leader, as an owner, is I have to go off of data now. And what's good is like we do know a lot of our numbers nowadays, and we're getting better and we're improving. I would say we know like every number known to man on the sales and marketing side of thing, but we don't always know our numbers as far as like what personalities do well in sales with us, or like how much exactly do we have to spend in order to get a new qualified salesperson, like all the things, right? And so we've worked on that stuff and we've improved that stuff. So the first thing is we'll have about $3 million of renewals next year. So we can kind of take that out of the equation. What I'm solving for is new business. We also make money in different ways. So we have independent agents that work with us. We have agencies that work with us. And so we'll probably make in the ballpark of about $2 million next year from a few places, one being overrides off of those agents and agencies. I do some consulting, and so that makes some money as well. And then we also own a mail house. Some people do, very few, but some people do mail with us, which we charge them for that, which gets us revenue. So we'll have about 3 million in renewals. We'll probably do about 2 million in overrides, slash consulting, slash print jobs, whatever you want to call it. And so what I had my team solve for new business for is $10 million. And that is a lofty goal. This year we'll do probably 6.8 to $7 million of revenue. And so that's doubling again. I'm a person that doesn't like to settle. I'm going to continue to push, but we'll start with the numbers on how this breaks down. And I'm looking this way because I made notes on all of this. 6 months ago, we started really, really focusing on ancillary. I mean, we would always bring it up. If someone wanted it, we would for sure get it to them. But 6 months ago, our average revenue per policy was $430. This is first year revenue. This is not lifetime value. This is first year revenue with proration, with overrides, with whatever you want to call it. It was $430 per policy. Since that ancillary push, since starting maybe with higher premiums rather than lower premiums, our average policy brings in $610 of new revenue first year. Okay. So whenever you're solving for $10 million, it's a lot easier to hit $10 million when you make $610 per policy versus $430. So there's two ways to grow. It's get more clients or make them worth more. And hopefully we can do both in 2025. But it was just an intention. We started tracking, we started giving people number, we started giving accountability towards ancillary and just making it a staple within the agency. And that is exactly what happened. Is we almost added $200 per policy to everything that we sell, which is huge for the business. But if you do the math, if you say, hey, we need to solve for 10 million and we make $610 per policy, we need to sell about 16,000 policies next year. To give you some reference internally, we probably sold around 7,000 or we will sell about 7,000 policies this year. So again, this is another jump. This is increasing things by 100%, doubling, if you will. But we need to sell 16,000 policies to make this happen, as long as we maintain $610 per policy. Crazy numbers. We're gonna do what's required to win. The other thing is on the marketing is we see as you scale, typically your cost of acquisition goes up. So this year, our average cost per acquisition across seminars, across mail, we own our own mail house, across Facebook ads, across anything else that we do was $195. So we expect that to go up to roughly about $220. And if you do the math on that, if we need to acquire 16,000 policies, We need to spend about $3.5 million on marketing next year. Now, what do? We do Facebook direct response. We do Facebook branding. We do seminars. We do webinars. We send out a book. And so we do a lot of direct mail. We do a lots of things. And so, but we'll have to spend roughly 3.5 million, and we have to make sure that it's making sense from a financial. It's not just spending the money; it's making sure we have positive return on ad spend. It's making sure our CPAs are clean, our ancillary attachment is clean, all the things. But that is what is required. And from, it's like, well, what do we do? And so we have a few things that work really well. It's just we're going to do more of that. We have to do more. Like, it's like more, better, new. Do we do more of what we're doing? Do we do it better, or do we do something new? Very few times do you need to do something new. A lot of agencies have something that is really working, and then they shut it off because of the new shiny penny syndrome that they have. We just do the same things, and we do them over, and then we try to do them better. It's like, how many times do we bring up, say, life insurance? How many times do we bring up cancer, hospital indemnity, home health care, dental, whatever? It's like, we can do them more and we can do them better. And that's better from a marketing perspective, and that's better from a sales perspective as well. We'll be splitting new hundreds of ads every single week. My media team behind me. But in order to hit these goals, we'll have to spend about $3.5 million on new marketing. Then it's like, who are going to sell these policies? And so this is where I think a lot of people maybe bottleneck themselves, of like, they have initial thoughts as a leader of like, no one wants to work anymore, or these millennials, or these Gen Z. It's like, the reality is no one wants to work for you. You have to be the leader that can attract the talent. You have to be the leader that can align the vision of the company, because great people don't work for crappy people. Great people work for great people. And so you got to think about that. You have to become the leader. You have to cast the vision, and you have to do the things that can attract the talent that is required to win. And this is a very difficult thing. This comes with working on yourself. This comes from buying mentorship. This comes from always continuing to set the example for your team of what's possible, and aligning the vision of not only your team, your employees, and everybody in the company with what is valuable to you. And you do that by doing something called PPF. This is personal, professional, and financial goals. This is not an idea that I came up with. This is mentors of mine that I listen to that do these things. And so we do them with our team. I've spent a lot of money on mentorship on how we can do things better. But let's talk about the numbers behind people. In order for us to hit our goals, we made an org chart, and I'm not going to show it on here, but we made an org chart of like, how many salespeople, how many service people, what leadership would need to ascend, like what it looks like with us doing $15 million. And it's a lot of changes. We would need to promote another sales manager, maybe two. We would need to promote a VP of Medicare. We would need to promote like 5 or 6 team leads. We would need to promote a team lead within customer service, and then possibly another operations person, and then have a director of marketing that I guess I would play that role right now. But these are the things that would have to happen. And so with that being said, we have to be able to bring on that talent. So we decided that a $120,000 recruiting budget, because we get a lot of internal referrals, like half of our team is just people that worked here that referred friends or people that they know. But we agreed that 120,000 of like cold recruiting, if you will, would give us enough candidates to find 4 to 6 new salespeople every month. A couple adjustments that we're making, kind of on the training onboarding, is we have a training center, we have an onboarding schedule, we have all those things, but we might bring on a dedicated trainer. Right now, our sales management does that, our director of operations, director of customer success, kind of all work together to do that. We might bring on a dedicated trainer that does that. High level position, that's a person you got to be really specific with. You got to like be really picky with, because they're the front line of your company for all the new hires you're bringing on. And then we also we felt that we had an issue with maybe feeling some pressure, as far as like, if we need to hire 4 people and we have 5 interviews, there's not a lot of selection, right? So we made hard rules in our interviews. We're doing a scoring system based off, so that if we interview 15 people and we need 5, we have a scoring system so we can go back and not be biased by the most, like, say, recency bias of hiring the most recent person. But we decided we have to have a 3-to-1 ratio. And our process in HR is, if we're going to have a $10,000 a month recruiting budget, we're going to probably get 6, 7, 800 applicants for each role each month. And so our process for that is we have two people in HR. We have a director of HR and then an HR assistant, and they've been doing a great job. But what our process looks like is our HR assistant will call them, do a 10-minute overview of the position, expectations, what they should be looking for, why they should work for MIA, all the things. And then if we like them, we'll roll them into a probably a 20-minute Zoom with our director of HR. If they like them, then we will roll that into a 45 to 50-minute interview with the management that they will be working with. So if it's a sales position, they'll be interviewing with the sales manager and team leads within that. If it is a service position, they'll be interviewing with the director of customer success, operations, et cetera. You guys kind of get it. But yeah, we'll have to spend $120,000 on a recruiting budget. That is what's required. We have two people in HR now. I made that move. And then, interview and hire a lot of people and mess things up. And there's, do things that are uncomfortable, but that is what's required to double year in and year out. And we're not the fastest growing company in the world, but I think we continue to push the envelope. So the next thing is systems. Like things break all the time, and having, for people having better onboarding, better training, better accountability, better expectations, it all comes with it. And so us building those things, like we're not necessarily bringing on agents to say right now. And so my HR team is working on some of these systems. We're doing a more robust onboarding process. But overall, it comes down to aligned incentives of you, your management, your team, and creating a win-win for not only your business, but for the people that work with you. And so every year that we continue to grow, like last year, we had group health insurance. We started making more money. I said, hey, I'll cover the cost. We're actually going to increase our sales salaries because of the Department of Labor ruling. It's like everyone gets a raise. And so your people will appreciate that stuff. They will follow people who are worth following. And if you're having trouble bringing on good people, a lot of it has to do with you. And you have to look yourself in the eye and understand that I have to develop, I have to get better, I have to be the leader worth following. And so few are willing to do that. So I challenge you, like listening, I hope this is helpful. I hope it is. But if you're watching this and you want to build an agency, you have to become a leader worth following.